Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about So Weird episode Vampires. I'm not quite sure what season this is. It might be the second. This is a really good episode. I really like it because, this is not so much, it's kind of a Jack-centered episode, which is very rare. And what's unique is that he sees all this crazy stuff happening, but he still is the skeptical type person. And I really like it how Fee, even though she doesn't take a permanent backseat, she's still doing her detective work, but like she's kind of like like I said, it's still centered mostly around him, where he saves the day. Also, we get some more insight into her father and his paranormal insight, like the way she has and stuff. And it's really interesting because it's one of those vampire episodes where it's not, because it's Disney Channel. It couldn't be like Buffy or Van Helsing type, vampires with blood, or Blade, like with blood and stuff like that. But they did it in a way that still made them very scary, that you really fear for everybody's life. And so that's what I really like about this episode. Like, they kept it like dark, but on a kid's level that wasn't too glory or like gross that might irritate some people. So like with every episode, it's kind of like, a monologue narration of Fee talking about what this episode is kind of about, or the supernatural thing that's about, and it's about vampires. And she's like talking about like Transylvania and how all this myth about vampires came to be, because there are no such things as vampires, but there are people who do drink blood. There are people who have like a really rare skin condition where they can't be out in the sunlight, and and then like there's the whole garlic thing. She talks about Vadila Paler, like how it all started with him, which is kind of weird because he has no powers whatsoever. So people aren't sure how it was rooted in vampire lore. And so like with this episode, Jack has been really focusing on his studies, and he's been focusing on this study group. We get some mention of Gabe, his girlfriend, how she gave him that necklace with the angel on it. How there's like this reach out group to like young people who are like really smart, and it's kind of like young scholars type thing. I believe it's called OSSN or something like that. And so it's a group of these young people, and so like he's really excited about this, and like his mom is excited for this and everything. And so like he's telling her how it's like this great group and stuff. And what's really interesting is that it only focuses on Fee, Molly, and Jack. Everybody else is not in this episode, so they don't even show who's driving like the bus. But somebody is driving the bus. And so at some point in time, we see somebody with blonde hair crawling on the outside of the bus. And so after, he gets like accepted and all this other stuff, we see these group of people. And they're talking about how like they're happy that Jack Phillips is about to join their group, and like they're extremely excited. These are the vampire people, and because they're excited because they want to know if Jack is similar to that of his dad and stuff, because they have like a vendetta against like his dad. And so like when they're Jack and them are like at the hotel and stuff. Now there is one skittish type person in the group. His name is Pete. He's a vampire too, but he's not like the other ones. He's a little different. So when they're at the little thing, and the Phillips family are like talking to like the vampire people who they have no idea are vampires, they're smoothing them. Like they're really getting like in on Molly, talking about, oh, I love your music. My dad used to let me listen to it all the time and stuff like that. Fee, who's wearing like she's I'm surprised the outfit she's wearing. You can tell this is old Disney Channel before they start putting rules in place what people should wear and not and stuff. Because I remember Selena Gomez's character had an outfit similar to that. They made her wear like a t-shirt underneath. And Fee is not wearing no t-shirt. And so like um Fee's kind of like interested in Pete, and Pete's kind of like a little interested in like her and stuff. And so there's smoozing them, but then there's a scene which is also not so Disney Channel when they're in a dressing room and Molly and Fee are like changing, and all you see is like their heads and their feet and like the dressing door. I'm like, this would never happen on Disney Channel today. This tell you how old in the '90s this was, you know. And so like they're talking and everything. So then when they're all back at the hotel, Fee is kind of like on in the hallway, and Pete shows up, and then he's acting kind of weird, like he's drained, he's tired, his head hurts. He dropped something. It's a vial of blood, and she's just kind of like, "What is that?" And you need to go to the hospital. He's like, "No, I'll be fine." And he warns her. He tells her, "You and your family need to leave. Don't trust those people. They're not good," and stuff like that. So then Jack shows up. And so then Pete ends up like disappearing out of thin air, and Fee can't find him. So Fee is kind of like, she's worried and stuff. So she's doing as much research as she can on the OSSN. And she contacts Gabe through her little website thing. And Gabe's all like, she doesn't know much about them other than like what she's heard. So they do extensive research on the internet. And I love this scene. It's just a quiet scene where Fee is looking on the internet, reading, tapping at the keys. And the music is getting more and more and more intense. And as more and more intense it gets, something is wrong with this group. But we already knew because they're vampires. And one thing about them is that their eyes glow and they have these demonic voices when they get angry. And so as Fee's reading more and more about it, she realizes that these students aren't even American, who she thought they were. They're from Romania, from Transylvania and stuff. And like, it's like, oh no, like what's going on and stuff. So Fee's like, she wants to intercept. So she tells Jack, "Hey man, can I like join your little group? I really want to focus on my studies and everything, though I'm not an A student." And he's thrilled that she wants to be a part of this and stuff. Because now it's finally something they can bond on, because he doesn't believe in the paranormal and the supernatural and stuff. So the group is happy Fee's going to join too. So when they all show up, Molly is there because she's like the escort. And as soon as they all show up, Fee has now figured out they're vampires because what she researched on the internet. And when they show up, like whatchamacallit, like the head vampire dude with the blonde hair who was on the bus that time, he waves his hand and like Jack and Molly like fall asleep. Fee ducks down and runs. She's like, "Run, they're vampires." But they catch up with her. And then the head vampire dude tells her straight up, because Fee's all like, "Look, man, you let us go and we promise not to tell nobody." And he's all like, "Oh no, I can't let you go. Your family's too special, especially your father." And so he tells her straight up, her father found out his father was a vampire and he was forced to go back to Transylvania and stuff. And he's been wanting revenge ever since. And so Fee's all like, he tells her the plan. They plan on taking over the world because they can hypnotize people and stuff. And so Fee's all like, "There's no way you can make people do what you want to do." And he's all like, "Oh yeah." So he tells Molly, put her finger in her nose, and she does it. Like, ew. And stuff. And then so he hypnotizes Fee and put her to sleep. And so he tells his people, like, take the girls into the room and he'll deal with Jack. And then he's upset at Pete because he knows Pete was at the hotel trying to warn on Fee and stuff. So as he's about to do whatever it is he's about to do to Jack's necklace, the angel one from Gabe, it glows and it shimmers. The bright light scares the crap out of the vampires. Oh, I forgot. Fee had some garlic and she put it in the vampire's face. And he's all like, "Look, garlic, holy water, steaks, it don't work on us." But that light, that shining light did work on them. And these vampires are able to walk during the day too. So this is like before the whole Twilight thing. And so like Jack, when he wakes up, all he sees is the head vampire dude over him. But he doesn't see the fangs or the glowing eyes. For whatever reason, he like freaks out and bolts because they're kind of like in this little place underground with all these candles, and he's freaked. So he runs on out of there. He runs to the room with Fee and them in with the other vampire girls, and like they're excited to see Jack because they had a crush on him, so they can't wait for him to turn. But then they see he hasn't turned, so they chase him. So he runs into the other room. They chase him behind him. And then he runs out the room and closes and locks the door. While his shirt, like his jacket's off and his shirt's like bare chest and stuff. You can tell this is so old school Disney. They would never show that. So he's waking his family like, look, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. And then Pete shows up and he holds the door with the other two vampires, and then he tells Jack, get your family and run, like never come back here. And so the Phillips family, they flee and everything. And Jack, when he's on the bus, he just like, I don't understand these people, why they flake, because they seemed so cool before. And Fee is trying to think to herself, she don't understand why the necklace did protected Jack. Somehow she knew it glowed. I don't know how she knew. Even Jack didn't know that. So that's a little error right there in writing. But she figures maybe it's an angel sending it to another angel or something like that. Because, Gabe has, like, cancer and stuff. And then, so, like, she thinks, like, Gabe and stuff like that on the internet. And then she warns her message board that these people in this organization are, like, scammers and they're dangerous. And then, so Molly calls this organization back up. No answer. The whole organization has, like, packed up bags and left. So chances are they're probably going back to Transylvania. And then, as they're on the bus, Pete is like dangling from the bus, looking through the window, making sure everybody is okay. And I'm just like, man, this was such an edgy episode, but on a kid's level. And you can go dark on a kid's show without having to go like gritty dark, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I really love about this episode. And it's a great Halloween episode. Yes, I know it's not Halloween no more, but I still got stuff to like put out. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.